Hello and welcome to my first book recommendation video while you're at home. I thought this would be a nice thing to give you some spiritual books to read through while you're at home because of the various regulations that are going on. So, of course, you can sit down and read your scriptures, but there's some other devotional material that would be good to have. If you are going to sit down and read your scriptures and you don't know where to start, maybe start with one of the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. Read through the life of Jesus. Great thing to start with. The books I'm going to recommend are two books written by one of my favorite college professors, Professor Daniel Deutschlander. The first one is a devotional book that goes through the church year. This is the first half of the church year, so it starts with Advent and goes through the Easter season. So here's the book called On Giving Advice to God. I will put the link to this book and the other book in our Facebook post on the Trinity webpage. But this is a nice one because it does walk through the church year. So if you get it, you wouldn't have to necessarily start at the beginning. You could start with Lent, since we're in the middle of Lent, and it talks through various scriptures that apply to the seasons of the church year. So that's kind of nice. If you're away from church and you want to still read through what's going on with the calendar at church, this would be a great devotional book to have. The other book I'm going to recommend is, like I said, another book by Professor Daniel Deutschlander. This one's called The Theology of the Cross. Certainly based off of what Jesus said, that we'll have to bear crosses as we follow Jesus. And I'll read for you the section from Mark that he quotes. It says there, "If anyone would come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever wants to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for me and for the gospel will save it. What good is it if for a man to gain the whole world, yet forfeit his soul? Or what can a man give in exchange for his soul? If anyone is ashamed of me and my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, the Son of Man will be ashamed of him when he comes in his Father's glory with his holy angels." This book is nice, especially at a time like this, because it deals with the various kinds of suffering that we have to go through, the various difficulties, the various crosses that we have in our life as Christians. Some of those things, are because of just the fact that the world is against Christians, but some of them are a result of our sin and how we deal with things differently as Christians. Even as we think about how we deal with a difficulty like this pandemic and what's going on in the world, it's going to be different than how someone who doesn't follow Christ deals with it. And this book gives some good points about how we as Christians can live our life of faith, follow our Lord, and take up the crosses that God has given to us. So that's my first book recommendation. I'll try to do some more in the future.